Hey, how's it going? Is that the first time that you see this?
Yes.
How do you feel about that?
Um, I don't know. What's the point of?
So what we're showing actually on the TVs and what we're all trying to communicate is that we're trying to basically raise awareness about how animals are treated in some of these factory farming places. What you're seeing there is basically the standard, probably more than 90% of the meat that you find in restaurants and grocery stores and whatnot comes from places like this.
Okay.
So we're just trying to show people what that reality is like. How do you feel when you look at that type of footage?
Really cruel.
Yeah, right. It's really hard to watch.
Yes.
Do you think that we need to consume animal products to live a good life?
I think not at all. We can be more eating veggies instead. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like there's alternatives, right? Like
Yes.
we can do that. So if it's not necessary for us, like if we can live a good, healthy life without animals and animal products, why do you think that we continue to eat these animals?
I mean, lots of people like to eat meat, so yeah.
So it's taste, right? So do you think maybe that that taste is more important than the life of an animal?
Well, it depends. Sometimes we want to eat more meats because it provides maybe more pleasure than veggies. So.
Right, so maybe like eating meat, it's almost kind of like an addiction in a way, right? It's really satisfactory. It's hard to stop doing something when it feels good, right?
I think it's good sometimes. Like in a week, you can eat once or twice meat, but not every day. Yeah.
Okay, so even in that case, right? Even if you just eat meat twice a week, an animal still has to be slaughtered and killed for a moment of pleasure, right? So it's like you eat that sandwich and afterwards, like, but for the animal, that's a long life of suffering and death. Even when the animal lives good,
Yeah.
at some point still has to die, right?
Yeah.
So do you think that we could just eliminate that from the equation and still have delicious foods that can come from that?
I guess so.
From vegetables? Whatnot?
I guess so.
For you personally, what would be the hardest thing of stopping all of your animal consumption?
What would be?
What would be the hardest thing about that? About not consuming any animal products?
I think it could be a good option. It just I need to make like a statement to continue in this way, but yeah.
Yeah, like it also takes like the right information. You have to know what to eat and whatnot. Can I ask, whoa. Are you from Montreal or are you living in Montreal?
I come from France, and I just moved in Montreal last year.
Okay, so you're living here now.
Yeah.
Okay, right on. Because why I'm asking is because in different places there's different cultures about veganism and like the types of food that you eat. I know at least in Montreal there's a lot of choices, right? Like, do you like sushi, for example?
Yes.
Do you think that would be something that you would really miss if you stopped consuming like fish and whatnot?
I think instead of eating meat, I would eat fish
Okay.
instead. Yeah.
What about no animals at all? Like, do you think that would be possible?
It would be hard, but I guess it could be possible. But in the long term, I don't know. Actually, yeah.
Yeah, right. Like, if it's a pretty strong decision to make when you
Yeah.
decide to stop consuming animals. But if, for example, you knew that it's better for you, for your health, that you could actually live a healthier life without consuming animals, do you think that would be something that you would consider? Or yeah?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay. Because for other people, it's like, no, taste. Taste is more important than health.
yeah.
What about for you? What do you think would be more important?
But because of my culture as Asian, we eat a lot of veggies, so it's not a problem sometimes not to eat meat. So it could be a good option. Yeah.
Okay, right on. You already have like a solid like base for that.
I don't know. Maybe.
That's cool, man. That's cool. A lot of people, especially in my culture, where I was raised in a culture where like meat is culture. Like it's in every big meal, with like family and stuff like that. I'm from Colombia, so South America. It's big, especially in pork, chicken. Like I grew up with family that raised pork and chicken for slaughter and for eating. But in those scenarios, it's actually kind of hard, but it's kind of cool that you come from a background that allows you, actually you can eat really delicious foods without animals in them. That's huge, man. And like a lot of people have a hard time thinking about food without the animals in it. So I think that's really cool that you don't have that. So if hypothetically you had all the right information, you had the recipes, you had all the good stuff to help you transition from eating animals and doing this stuff that is not necessary to having delicious foods rich in protein, iron, calcium, all the stuff that you need to live, do you think you might consider perhaps doing a switch?
It could be, but I think it's also it's a hard step to define as vegetarian, or sometimes it's quite a difficult step to do. So
yeah, absolutely. I think nobody here could deny that. Like most of us, at least, were not born vegans, right? Yeah. So like, for sure, for some people it takes years. For some people it's overnight. So definitely, when we talk about this, we're not expecting people to be like, oh, go vegan right on the spot, because that'd be crazy to think about. But at least what we're saying is the information's out there. The conversation we're trying to have is basically a lot of people have a lot of myths that we actually need meat to survive, or that there's something in animals that we can't get from plants. And what we're saying, no, that's actually not true. In fact, we can live longer lives, healthier lives without that, without contributing to that. And so when people realize that, they're like, okay, yeah, maybe that makes it easier to make a transition like that, because it is a big deal. It is something you've been doing your whole life. But if you found that there was a bigger purpose to it, like, okay, there's environmental reasons, there's animal healthcare reasons, there's so many reasons to do it. So I think that why fulfills, and people start to come to their own conclusions, right? So what I want to leave you with, I want to leave you with a card. Do you speak French as well?
Yes.
Yeah,
I'm
nice.
French.
Oh, damn. Oh, yeah, you're from France.
Yeah.
Nice, right on. So you're gonna have like twice the information.
Okay.
And here you can find support for, let's say, like you started to go to the gym and you're like, okay, how do I get all my nutrition? What do I eat? There's this guy, especially John Venus. He's one of the most probably one of the most important vegan athletes in YouTube, and he gives a lot of free advice and a lot of good stuff. There's also a lot of really good recipes. Okay. Really good stuff over here, especially the Fork Over Knives app. It's something that I usually recommend to people. Right. And while you're in Montreal, check out this place. It's called Veg Montreal. Okay. It has some of the best vegan restaurants and vegetarian restaurants in Montreal. There's a place. Do you like sushi?
Yeah.
There's a place called Sushi Momo. It's one of the best sushi restaurants in Montreal, and it also happens to be vegan. So people love it, especially even non-vegan. So like you'll see a range of all sorts of people when you go there. So I highly recommend that. Okay. And yeah, man, so check this out. I'll leave you with this information, and thank you for stopping by. What's your name?
Albert.
Albert. Awesome, man. Thank you for stopping. Thanks, and maybe I'll run into you in the street one day and you'll be like, I'm vegan now. And I'll be like, yes.
Yeah. All right.
Thanks, man. Take it easy.